If you don't push, nothing moves. If you don't stretch, nothing grows. If you don't challenge yourself, you stay the same. And staying the same, that's the beginning of regret. That's the truth, my friend. And the truth, when you finally face it, can be uncomfortable. But it can also be the beginning of everything you've ever wanted. You see, most people settle, not because they don't want more, but because they've never learned how to push themselves beyond their limits. And here's something to write down. Your life will only rise to the level of the pressure you're willing to face. You've got dreams. You've got goals. You've even got talent. But talent alone is never enough. Desire alone is never enough. A dream without discipline is just a fantasy. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something uncomfortable on purpose? When was the last time you said, "This hurts, but I'm growing"? When was the last time you faced fear and walked through it anyway? Because that's the beginning of greatness. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. You've heard me say it. But wishing isn't pushing, and hoping isn't climbing. You've got to train yourself every day to go one step further. 1 page more, 1 hour deeper, 1 decision braver. And the reward? The reward of pushing past your limits is not just success. It's pride. It's purpose. It's power. You can't imagine how strong you are until strength is your only option. You'll never know your capacity until comfort is no longer an excuse. And I'll tell you something. The people who become extraordinary, they're not different. They're just willing. Willing to do what others won't. Willing to get up earlier. Willing to study harder. Willing to be laughed at, judged, and misunderstood. Why? Because they know that the version of themselves they're becoming is worth it. So today, let's go on a journey. Let's explore what it really means to push yourself beyond your limits. Let's dig deep into the mindset, the habits, the daily disciplines. Because the comfort zone is nice, but nothing ever grows there. If you want to change your life, you've got to change your limits. Let's begin. You know, I often say discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. But let me add something today. Pushing yourself is the path from ordinary to exceptional. And that path, it starts at the point where most people say, "That's enough." Now here's the truth. Everyone has a limit, but not everyone has the courage to test it, to push it, to go beyond it. I call this point the threshold of growth. It's that moment when your body is tired, when your mind whispers, "Let's stop," when your emotions scream, "This is too hard," but something in you, something deeper, says, "Keep going." That's the moment that separates the successful from the stagnant. Because if you always quit at your limit, you'll never know who you could have become. You see, your comfort zone is not a sanctuary. It's a prison. It tells you, this is safe. But what it really means is, this is small. Push through the resistance. Because on the other side is your reward. When I started out, I wasn't a success. I was broke. I was frustrated. And I was out of answers. But I met a mentor, and he said to me, "Jim, if you want to be successful, you've got to earn it. And to earn it, you've got to stretch every day. Do more than you think you can. Be more than you believe you are." And let me tell you, I listened. Now, let me ask you, how far are you willing to go? Are you willing to wake up earlier? Stay up later? Put in the extra reps? Read the extra pages? Make the uncomfortable calls? Because here's the truth. Growth begins at the edge of discomfort. You want to become more? Then you must do more. Want to have more? Then you must become more. Your limits are not walls. They are invitations. Invitations to rise, to evolve, to transform. And every time you say, "I'll keep going," you build something inside, something called grit. And grit is the muscle that builds greatness. So let me encourage you, friend. The next time you feel like quitting, don't. The next time you say, "This is enough," go further. The next time your body says no, but your dream says yes, push. Because if you can push yourself, you can change your life. Let's be honest. Growth hurts. Discomfort stinks. Change is uncomfortable. You don't have to like it. But if you want to push yourself beyond limits, you have to understand something very simple. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is the signpost on the road to greatness. Most people live their lives chasing comfort. They want ease. They want safety. They want predictability. Comfort makes more prisoners than all the jails combined. Comfort tricks you into believing you're safe. But in reality, it's a slow, silent death to your potential. When you step outside your comfort zone, the first thing you feel is discomfort. Your body rebels. Your mind resists. Your heart questions the pain. But here's the secret. That pain is growth knocking at your door. It's the signal that you are moving forward, that you are stretching beyond what you thought possible. Think about it this way. When you exercise your muscles, you feel soreness. But soreness means the muscles are growing stronger. If you never feel sore, you're not growing. Life works the same way. If you want to push yourself beyond limits, you will feel the strain. You will feel the pressure. You will face discomfort. And that's good. Pain in this context is a teacher. It tells you you're on the right path. Pain means you're challenging old beliefs, habits, and boundaries. Pain means you're evolving. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. That's the mindset of someone who welcomes discomfort. But what happens if you run from discomfort? If you avoid pain at all costs, you stay stuck. You stay small. You stay average. Because growth demands sacrifice. It demands effort. It demands willingness to endure temporary discomfort for permanent gain. If you want success, you must be willing to pay the price. And that price is often discomfort. Remember, diamonds form under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. And you become stronger, wiser, and more capable when you embrace the pain of growth. The good news is this. You can train yourself to welcome discomfort. You can build resilience. You can grow comfortable being uncomfortable. How? By changing your perspective. By seeing pain as progress, not punishment. The next time you face resistance, don't turn away. Lean into it. Ask yourself, what am I learning? How is this helping me grow? Every time you embrace discomfort, you're rewiring your mind for success. Let me share something personal. There was a time in my life when I faced hardship, the kind of hardship that shakes your foundation. I could have quit. I could have stayed comfortable in my old ways. But I chose to push through the pain, to embrace the struggle, to learn and grow from it. It wasn't easy. It wasn't painless, but it was necessary. And looking back, I see that pain was the turning point. It was the signal that I was moving towards something greater. So today, I encourage you to welcome the struggle. See discomfort as a sign you're growing. See pain as proof that you're on the right path. Next time your limits are tested, remember, you're not suffering. You're becoming. You're not breaking down. You're building up. Push yourself beyond the pain. Because on the other side of discomfort is the person you were meant to be. You know, people often say to me, Jim, I'm just waiting for that one big break. Or, I'm hoping something will come along and turn everything around. And I always smile, kindly, gently. Then I say, you don't need a miracle. What you need is a plan. That's what makes the difference between people who drift and people who design their lives. Now let me say something right up front. Hope is important. Hope is the beginning. Hope is the soil, but it's not the harvest. If all you've got is hope and no plan, you're in trouble. You're like a farmer standing in the middle of a field with no seeds, no plow, and no calendar, just hoping something will grow. That's not strategy, that's wishful thinking. Hope is not a plan. Wishing isn't building. Dreaming isn't designing. Let me tell you, you can't just wish your way to success. You have to work your way to it. You have to plan your way to it. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned is this. Don't rely on luck. Rely on discipline and structure. Miracles are rare, but plans are practical. They're powerful, and they're available to anyone willing to sit down and think Now, maybe you're saying, Jim, I don't know where to start. That's fair. Most people don't. But let me show you where to begin. Start with the end in mind. Ask yourself, where do I want to be in 5 years? What do I want to be known for? What kind of person do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to wake up to? See, the clearer you are about the destination, the simpler it becomes to design the road to get there. It's not easy, but it is clear. Now, once you've got that clarity, here's the next step. Break it down. Break the dream into goals. Break the goals into tasks. Break the tasks into habits. And then do it daily. Success is not some big event. It's a series of small disciplines done consistently. You know, people often ask me, Jim, how did you go from working on a farm at 25, broke and behind on your promises, to traveling the world, speaking to millions, and becoming financially free? It wasn't a miracle. It was a plan to read, a plan to invest in myself, a plan to wake up earlier, a plan to speak better, think clearer, live wiser. And when you do that every day, something wonderful happens. Not overnight, but over time. And that's the miracle people don't talk about. You see, people are always looking for shortcuts, the easy road, the lucky break. But success, lasting success, isn't about shortcuts. It's about smart cuts. And smart cuts come from planning. Now let me give you a little formula. You might want to write this down. The 4-part plan for a life that works. 1. Clarity. Know exactly what you want. No fuzziness. Get precise. Be specific. 2. Strategy. Map out the steps. Study those who've done it before you. Learn from their footprints. 3. Habits. Transform your strategy into daily rituals. Consistency beats intensity every time. 4. Review. Every week, sit down and ask, what worked, what didn't, how can I improve next week? That's not complicated, but it is powerful. Let me say it again, and I hope you write it on the wall if you need to. You don't need a miracle. You need a method. And method is within your control. Miracles aren't. You can't force a miracle to happen. But you can force yourself to sit down and write out a plan. You can force yourself to get up an hour earlier. You can force yourself to turn off the television and open a book. That's the discipline that creates progress. Don't be fooled by appearances. Behind every overnight success is usually 10 years of quiet planning, focused action, and steady growth. So stop waiting. Stop hoping someone or something will come rescue you. Become your own rescue. Draw up your rescue mission. Write your plan. And let me warn you, the moment you make a real plan, life will test you. You'll feel resistance. You'll be tempted to quit. You'll get tired. But if your plan is rooted in purpose, if it's tied to a vision bigger than your excuses, you'll keep going. And you'll wake up one day not in the life you dreamed about, but the life you designed. So what do we do now? Simple. Today, not tomorrow. Sit down and plan. Plan your morning. Plan your week. Plan your growth. Plan your values. Plan your finances. Plan your energy. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan, and guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Don't wait for things to change. Design the change. Don't wish for success. Plan for it. You don't need a miracle. You don't need magic. You don't need to hope the stars align. You need a plan, and you can start right now. Now, let me tell you something important. It's not how many times you fall that defines you. It's how many times you get back up. How many times you rise despite the odds, despite the voices, despite the pain. Because here's what I know. Everyone wants to win, but not everyone is willing to keep swinging when they're tired. Most people want success, but not many want the fight that comes with it. And yet, that's where the real growth happens. In the fight. When you're pushing against resistance, when you're doing it tired, when you're doing it afraid. Now, friend, you will want to quit. That's just the truth. There will come a day, maybe it's today, maybe it was yesterday, When you say to yourself, it's not working, I'm tired, I'm done. But I want to challenge you right here, right now. Don't you dare quit. Don't you dare throw in the towel before the miracle happens. The same wind blows on us all. The wind of opportunity, the wind of difficulty. What matters is the set of your sail. You see, life will test you before it rewards you. And it's always darkest before the dawn. You've heard that. But have you believed it? See, the night doesn't stay forever. The storm eventually passes. But if you stop moving, if you lay down and quit, you may never see what's on the other side. Now, why do people quit? It's not always because of failure. Sometimes it's just fatigue. Sometimes it's boredom. Sometimes it's doubt. You start strong, you hit the gym, you launch the business, you begin the book, and somewhere along the road, the fire fades. That's when most give up. But you must choose a different path. When the fire fades, light another match. When your legs get tired, walk slower, but keep walking. When your heart aches, breathe deep and move anyway. Let me give you a little strategy. Something I've used. 1. When you want to quit, remember why you started. Go back to the why. The vision. The hunger. Remind yourself of the person you said you wanted to become. 2. Break it down. Don't think about climbing the whole mountain today. Just take the next step. Just show up. Just stay in motion. 3. Surround yourself with strength. When you're weak, borrow belief from someone who's strong. Read good books. Listen to powerful voices. Cut off negative noise. Because quitting often isn't physical, it's mental. It starts with a single thought. This is too hard. This is too much. This isn't worth it. And those thoughts, they are lies. They are not the truth. They are just the enemies of your future whispering into your present. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. You rise not because it's easy, but because you've made a decision that your future matters, that your family matters, that your potential matters. And listen, every time you rise, you grow. You get tougher. You get sharper. You get stronger. And eventually, you become unstoppable. So, let me ask you today, are you going to stop at pain? Or will you keep rising again and again until you see the fruit of your labor? Don't cheat yourself. Don't rob yourself of what's possible just because the road got rough. Dig in, grit your teeth, and stand back up one more time. Because success belongs not to those who never fall, but to those who always rise. If you will change, everything will change for you. So rise up, my friend. Not just once, every time. And keep rising until your life becomes the legacy you once dreamed of. Because you're not finished yet. You're just getting started. You know what I've learned over the years? Most people don't fail because they aim too high and miss. They fail because they aim too low and hit. They set small goals. They play it safe. They stay where it's comfortable, and guess what? That's where dreams go to die. Now let me ask you something. What's the real reason you're not living the life you want? It's not your background. It's not the economy. It's not your age. It's the excuses you keep repeating to yourself. You say, I don't have enough time. I'm not ready yet. Maybe next year. Let me tell you, those are not reasons. They're lies we tell ourselves to protect our comfort. But remember this, comfort is the enemy of progress. And if you want to break the limits, if you want to escape average, you have to bury your excuses. Because here's the truth. If you really want something, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. You see, most people are experts at making excuses. They've practiced it for years. They've mastered the art of saying why they can't. But champions master the art of doing it anyway. I once had a gentleman tell me, Jim, I'd love to read more, but I just don't have the time. So I asked him, how many hours a day do you spend watching television? He paused, and then he smiled. You see, the time was there. but the priority wasn't. That's how it works. If you want to become more, do more, earn more, you must first expect more from yourself. And stop telling yourself the same old story. Because here's the deal. Your excuses are keeping you average. And average is a silent killer. It won't destroy you overnight. It will wear you down little by little until one day you wake up and wonder, where did all the years go? Now, how do you break free? Let me give you something powerful, a new philosophy. I call it, do it anyway. You're tired? Do it anyway. You're scared? Do it anyway. You're uncertain? Do it anyway. Why? Because discipline will carry you where motivation cannot. Discipline is doing the thing long after the feeling has passed. Discipline is waking up when your mind says sleep. It's showing up when your emotions say later. It's moving forward when everything in you screams quit. Because the moment you stop listening to excuses and start listening to your potential, you rise. You break the invisible chain. You tap into your real power. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. That's what I used to say. You don't need life to bend for you. You need to bend yourself toward greatness. You need to stretch yourself. Physically, mentally, spiritually. Do what's hard until it becomes your habit. Do what's uncomfortable until it becomes your advantage. Do what others refuse to do until you become what they never will. Let me say this. You were not born to be average. You were not born to blend in. You were not born to wake up, work a job you hate, scroll your phone, and repeat that cycle until you die. No. You were born to lead, to rise, to grow, to build. But here's the rule of life. You don't get what you want. You get what you deserve based on what you do. So what are you doing? Not what are you saying? Not what are you planning? What are you doing? Are you working on yourself each day? Are you reading the books? Listening to the mentors? Applying the lessons? Are you showing up even when no one is watching? Because that's how you live beyond excuses. That's how you leave average behind. That's how you break the limit. So from this moment forward, here's the challenge. No more excuses. No more delay. No more talking. No more blaming. Start doing. Start getting up 1 hour earlier. Start saying no to things that waste your energy. Start saying yes to discomfort, growth, and personal development. Because your future, your real future, not the one in your imagination, but the one you created, begins the moment you take responsibility. Responsibility for where you are, and responsibility for where you want to be. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. Become the person who never settles, who never quits, who never says, I can't. Only, I will. Break the limits. Because once you do, there are no limits. Let me leave you with this thought, my friend. You don't have to stay where you are. You don't have to settle. And you don't have to live the same day 10,000 times and call it a life. You were designed for more. But let me tell you something honest, and perhaps a little uncomfortable. Life will never hand you more. You have to go and earn it. You've got to push yourself beyond where it's comfortable. You got to stretch your thinking, your habits, your beliefs, until they begin to match the size of your dreams. Why? Because comfort is the enemy of progress. Let me repeat that. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Now, I know it feels good to take it easy. It feels safe, familiar. But success doesn't live in the land of familiar. No, success is built on the edge of your effort, the edge of your patience, the edge of your persistence. It's found in the moments when your mind says, I've had enough, and your spirit says, let's go one more. That's the real battle, and that's where champions are made. Not when everything is going your way, but when nothing is going your way and you show up anyway. When you're tired and still move forward. When you're afraid, but act with courage. When you're doubting yourself, but keep doing the work. Now here's what I've learned. Limits are mostly lies. Yes, some of them are real, but most, they're just old thoughts you've repeated so often, they became beliefs. They became your truth. But the good news is you can change that truth. And the way you do that, you act different before you feel different. You discipline yourself before you believe in yourself. You show up before you're ready. That's how you shatter your limits. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's worth it. Think about the people you admire, the ones you respect, the ones you say, wow, look what they've accomplished. You know what they did? They pushed past their excuses. They said no to laziness. They woke up early, stayed late, studied, practiced, failed, and then got back up again. Success didn't come because they were special. It came because they decided to go one more round than everyone else. They were tired but not finished. You can do that too. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be committed. So here's the challenge I want to leave you with. From this moment forward, stop looking for easy. Start looking for worth it. Don't say, I hope it gets easier. Say, I'll get stronger. Stop saying, I can't. Start saying, how can I? Because here's what's waiting for you on the other side of the pain, on the other side of discipline, on the other side of all your excuses. Freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from average. Freedom from the small version of you. But you'll never taste it until you earn it. And how do you earn it? You push every day, every hour, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when nobody's watching. Because you're not just building a life, you're building yourself. And if you do that long enough, consistently enough, with enough heart, one day you'll look back and realize you didn't just go beyond your limits. You became someone who doesn't have limits. That's your future. That's your destiny. And it all starts with the decision you make today. So what will you choose? Average or excellence? Excuses or results? The couch or the climb? The moment is now. Push yourself. Not because it's easy, but because you deserve what's on the other side. Thank you, my friend. Now go out and live it.